The basement.
The basement.
The basement.
Good evening and happy Halloween. I'm Stan.
I'm Guy.
I'm Mark.
And we're with The Basement. And tonight we are doing a Halloweeny roundtable on monsters?
Yeah.
Question mark?
Monsters in pop culture.
Okay. Well, anyway, that being said, we're just going to hand this right over to Mark. Because Mark loves Halloween.
This is fun.
I do too.
I am indifferent.
It's my favorite holiday.
I don't have a favorite holiday. I really don't like holidays, but
Such a nihilist. Not really. But anyhow. Okay, so. First episode is about zombies. Because everybody loves zombies. What do you guys like and or dislike about them?
go ahead, Guy, because I could talk for 60 billion hours about zombies.
Well, it depends on what scenario you're doing.
Like in
Just zombies in general. We'll get into that later.
it's like in culture in general too.
Zombies in pop culture.
There's not really much I don't dislike.
Like say
I mean, they're pretty straightforward. Zombies are zombies.
I always like the moral dilemmas they provide. Like they're more of a driving factor for the people. It's not really them that is the focus of the story. It's always, hey, they're doing, or you have to survive this onslaught caused by them.
Now, if you're going like scenario-wise, like if you're doing like World War Z running type fucking zombies,
Mark will get to that. I saw his notes.
I dislike that.
My thought is zombies are like winter here or being in the desert. They're ultimately, as a monster, I think they're really cool. I really like zombies. But they're ultimately a natural hazard almost, an unnatural hazard, I guess.
That's a
More
good way to put
than a threat per se. I mean, in pop culture, I think that I'm starting to get to the point where I'm a little bit burnt out on them because they've permeated everything for a while now. But
I get that too. But one thing is they like it if the sheer numbers of them. Like I mean, it's like you say a hazard, but like a couple of them, it's just an inconvenience.
Yeah, nuisance.
A couple thousand of them, okay, then it's just a wave of attacking people things that you can't really counter too well unless you have some creative method around it.
Mindless beings that want one thing.
so they're many.
Yeah, mindless beings that want one thing. Vagina.
But no, I ultimately what had always drew me to zombies was just like I like the old zombie films, and it was more because pretty much every zombie movie was low budget, and that made it really cool. And don't get me wrong, I like a lot of the effects they do on The Walking Dead and on the newer movies, but that's what always drew me. That's why ultimately they're my favorite monster. And that's the reason why, is because it's always so just cheesy.
Yeah.
And it makes it super awesome. Like, they don't take themselves seriously, which is what's cool about them.
Yeah, there are some serious movies I like that do take it seriously, but there are a lot that don't. And I'm kind of a snob when it comes to films or books or anything like that, where if it has to find its balance between humor. Like if it's too cheesy, then it doesn't appeal to me. That's all. But with zombie films and comics and books, it's like it can do pretty much whatever as long as it has a good context for it.
You're so posh.
It's true.
Ultimately, I mean, as far as zombies go, I read an article done by someone important. I don't remember anymore, but it was just like, basically, for the zombie apocalypse to happen, there's two scenarios. Well, I've read multiple articles, but the one article is like, there's two scenarios. One, it's a biological thing. and a quarantine gets slapped on it so fast that it doesn't spread beyond, a state or two at most in the U.S. 2, it's a supernatural thing, and we're all fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it could happen in another country, I guess, and get out of hand there. And I guess it's possible it could get here, but yeah.
Well,
so
the
checks
thing
in
is
place.
with this super disease paranoia, I mean, you look at you had the super Ebola outbreak a couple of years ago. And granted, some cases made it to the U.S., but Ebola is something that in its early stages is far less recognizable than a zombie bite.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
And in something like that, only a handful of cases made it to the U.S. Now you're taking something that you have to get chomped on in order to get spread. Got a sneaking suspicion U.S. is going to catch that.
Mm.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, and then there are also, I read a study on it, a different study where they're like, if it could, there was a lot of ifs in it, but it was like if it occurred with specific circumstances, it could wipe out 98% of the population in a matter of a couple of days.
Yeah. I could see both scenarios. Like, it would be all or none.
Congratulations on being the last 2%, guys.
Well, that's always the great debate with zombies, is just like where we live is ultimately like one of the best places to be.
Especially in the winter.
Well, it's just
We can barely
the
survive.
facts are the northern half of Minnesota. I read the number, some ridiculous number on the internet, where it's like the northern half of Minnesota has more firearms than the U.S. military arsenal has. Granted, it's small arms, rifles and shotguns and pistols, but there's more guns here that per capita than pretty much anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, next point. Do you think they're overused?
I think they are getting overused.
Yeah.
I was a huge fan of The Walking Dead when it hit, because I think at that point they were overused in cinema, not overused in television. I also like the comic, but
Yeah.
that being said, now I think that I've reached a point where it's over-permeated society. I haven't even finished the last season of The Walking Dead. The next season starts. That's the point I'm at.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think they needed to make more shows like Fear the Walking Dead.
yeah, I watch it and it's enjoyable, but it's not really holding me to it. Like it's something I'll watch once in a blue moon. It's not The Walking Dead when it first started as well. It's like I really enjoyed it. I went on my way to see it,
Or,
and now it's just like it's gonna be on. It's cool.
Was it iZombie or something like that? Where
Mhm.
that girl's a zombie and she's a medical examiner, maybe? Something
Yeah,
like
that's
that?
one that did draw me in.
No, didn't watch it. Z Nation. I watched Z Nation, but once again, we're getting to that whole. It was cheesy
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
in the
Yeah.
manner. It didn't present itself seriously, and that's what I liked about it.
Yeah, like stuff like Dead Alive, where it's so corny that it's just wonderful, and just different themes and things. Like in the book you borrowed me, which what's it, Day by Day Armageddon book series, great series. There's one point where he finds a crane that is just whipping through zombies with like a spike and chain on it, and it's a fun setup, but it has to get kind of cheesy for it to be that way. Just find interesting methods around it, but there's so many that are redoing the same stuff as before. It's kind of boring now.
Yeah, in literature, the literature. I'm still reading books. I enjoy the books, but
Yeah, because they go a different manner from what I've seen.
yeah.
Okay, what do you think is the best portrayal of zombies in pop culture?
The best portrayal, as far as how I feel zombies should be portrayed.
Which you enjoyed the most? Let's go that way. One way, like humor
Romero's Dawn of the Dead.
one. Okay, I'll say that.
And not the remake. the
Yeah.
original.
I like the remake, but I appreciated the first one far more.
I like the remake.
Yeah, I also like the remake. Just the
Mhm.
original was.
As far as how I feel zombies should be, probably The Walking Dead. I think they nailed it.
The Walking Dead definitely nailed it, but I just
My
find the most enjoyment out of that.
As far as a fresh, different take on zombies, I think Warm Bodies kind of.
I've never seen that actually.
I own it. You can borrow it from me. It's funny.
Yeah, it's
a decent thing, and it is an interesting take on it.
Yeah, because they have the stages of zombies where it's like your regular zombies, and then you're like super far gone, decomposed, like walking skeletons that are like super fuck your shit up zombies. But
Yeah.
then, like, if zombies start to love again, their heart goes back and beats, and
So
It's an interesting take.
yeah,
convoluted and interesting, but
I thought it was gonna be stupid, but it's pretty
you're gonna
good.
like my favorite one, 28 Days Later.
Okay,
It was
okay.
wonderful, but I can see why some people wouldn't like it because it's fast zombies and they're just
Yeah.
they vomit so much blood that you would die in an instant from just having all of your fluids gone. But
Ultimately, yeah, there's so many logistical questions about 28 Days Later zombies.
Mhm.
As far as I'm not opposed to the 28 Days Later zombie per se, I just don't feel that fast-moving zombies are really
Conceivable?
zombies. Well, no.
Okay.
The thing
They-
is the disease could cause the human body to become like that. However, you're not a zombie because you're not dead at that
Yeah,
point
you're
in
just
order to be
diseased.
moving at that
Makes
speed.
sense. Just like what was it, Record or Rec? I think it was called, or they had the
Yeah.
whatever the American remake was too, which was
Yeah.
they were both decent, but they were rabies is what they had, and it
Quarantine.
quarantine. That's it.
That's another one.
Oh wait, no. Actually, wait, that's what I'm thinking of. Rec was another one that was decent, but they had rabies and they were just a different form of it, but they they had
That's what they call it in World War Z in the book.
That's
That
true.
that was another thing that kind of started. That's what initially took the momentum. Like it took the wind out of my zombie sails
Right.
of just
See
like
the movie.
World War Z. Great book, unbelievably good book. Movie, other than the title, in no way related to the book.
I actually thought it was a decent movie.
Yeah,
but,
no, I'm not saying the
Mm.
movie.
But yeah, it had nothing to do with it, and it lost so much.
It was because of the fact that they felt like it became a pop culture capitalizing on.
Yeah, World War Z was just an amazing book. I love that. Just all the logistics and seeing how the world was handling it in different manners and aspects. Just love Israelis. Just gonna say that. No offense to everybody. You know. Okay. Call it that. Any other thoughts on zombies? Then we'll move on to the next creature.
Yeah, what's the worst portrayal?
Oh yeah, worst portrayal.
I actually,
we kind of worked that in, but go ahead.
actually thought about that. I can't remember what the name of it is. It's the one with Dennis Hopper. He's like
Mario Brothers.
No, yeah,
I don't know who Dennis Hopper is, other than it because of Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's the head of the Metropolis area that's all barricaded and fenced
Was that,
in.
um,
And John Leguizamo's in it.
Yeah, there was Day of the Dead. I think
Something
it was.
like that.
Yeah,
I
it's
never-
it's actually a Romero film, but
Yeah.
it was done so far after.
I watched a little bit and I didn't finish it. So
The
I'm sure-
fact that the zombies just kind of walk through the water, like just, and then they go underneath and just walk on the seabed or floor bed or whatever, and then get up and
Just- again, World War Z, the book, just the part where they're underwater and they just the zombies are coming towards them and then you just touch them and they just explode. Just so wonderful.
Well, and then John Leguizamo, spoiler alert, turns into a zombie and goes after Dennis Hopper to kill him, like, because you know what you're doing when you're a zombie.
Hey, I remember you because my memories are intact.
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
dead. But then again, I guess
little thing that does stuff.
you can't really say much talking about reanimated corpses.
Right.
But okay, any worse portrayals you can think of?
It was bad, but oh god.
That's with me. I can't even think of any that are bad. Like I mean, every single one has been the acting has been terrible, but
Well, that's just it. But
It's
like
kind
I
of
said,
par for the course.
what makes zombies interesting to me is the cheese. So I'm gonna say your iZombie TV show.
okay.
I've never even seen.
I've
it.
never seen it, and that's I guess I shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but just the premise behind it is it can't be good.
Yeah, I was not even closely drawn to it, so I guess I'll say that too. But again, okay. Now I believe that is everything. Any other thoughts, comments, concerns?
No.
Not out.
Okay, we will come back shortly with episode about vampires.
So if you want to see more, like, comment, and subscribe, and we will have another new episode talking about vampires and not the Mark vampires. They suck blood, not the other thing. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
You don't suck wiener.
You could suck blood through that. Come on, get aroused. Oh.